The dying man, Captain Marcus Cole, had exactly 17 hours to live. Not because of enemies, not because of a battle, but because his water tank was empty. And in the cold darkness of space, thirst kills faster than any weapon. Marcus opened his eyes slowly. Red warning lights were flashing everywhere inside his small cargo ship. The air felt thick and hot. His throat was so dry that it hurt to breathe. He tried to sit up, but his body was weak. Too weak. The computer voice spoke in a calm, cold tone. Warning, water supply, 0. Oxygen remaining, 43 hours. No rescue signals detected. Marcus closed his eyes and let out a painful laugh. 43 hours of oxygen meant nothing. Without water, he would be dead long before that. 3 days ago, everything was normal. Marcus was transporting medical supplies to a human colony on the other side of the galaxy. It was supposed to be an easy job. Fly in, deliver the cargo, fly out and go home to his daughter. But then the asteroid field appeared out of nowhere. His ship tried to avoid the rocks, but there were too many. One massive asteroid hit the side of his vessel. The impact killed his entire crew instantly. Marcus survived only because he was in the back of the ship checking the cargo. Now he was alone, drifting through an unknown part of space, far away from any human planet, far away from any help. Marcus forced himself to stand up. His legs were shaking like leaves in a storm. He walked slowly through the damaged ship, checking every storage room, every cabinet, every corner. Nothing. There was nothing left. He found one small container hidden under a broken seat. Inside was maybe half a cup of water. That was it. That was all he had left in the entire ship. Marcus held the container with trembling hands. Half a cup. This tiny amount of liquid was the difference between life and death. He drank it slowly, letting each drop touch his dry tongue. It was not enough. It would never be enough. Marcus walked to the cockpit and sat down in the pilot's chair. Outside the window there was only darkness. Billions of stars twinkled in the distance. But none of them could help him. They were just pretty lights in an empty void. He pressed the communication button and spoke into the microphone. His voice was rough and broken. "This is Captain Marcus Cole of the cargo vessel Starlight Dream. I am stranded in unknown space. My crew is dead. I have no water. I am requesting immediate rescue. Please, if anyone can hear me, please respond." He waited. Silence. He sent the message again, and again, and again. But there was no response. Only the quiet hum of his dying ship. Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out a small photograph. It was old and wrinkled from years of travel. In the picture, a little girl with bright brown eyes was smiling at the camera. She was holding a teddy bear and wearing a pink dress. His daughter, Emma. She was only 7 years old. Marcus remembered the day he left Earth for this mission. Emma had hugged him tightly and made him promise. "Daddy, you have to come back. You promised." And Marcus had smiled and kissed her forehead. "I promise, baby. Daddy always comes home." Now looking at her photo, Marcus felt tears forming in his dry eyes. He might not be able to keep that promise. "I'm sorry, Emma," he whispered. "I'm so sorry." He leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. Maybe it was time to accept the truth. Maybe it was time to stop fighting. Maybe death was the only thing waiting for him in this cold, empty void. But then, something happened. A loud beep echoed through the cockpit. Marcus's eyes flew open. The computer screen was flashing with new information. Unknown vessel approaching. Distance, 2,000 kilometers. Design, unidentified. Marcus sat up straight, his heart beating fast. A ship? Someone was coming? He looked at the screen and saw the image of the approaching vessel. But it was not like any ship he had ever seen. It was not human. The design was strange and organic, like something alive, like a giant creature swimming through space. Fear and hope mixed together inside Marcus's chest. He did not know if this was rescue or death coming toward him. The alien ship moved closer, and closer, and closer. Then it attached itself to Marcus's vessel like a parasite connecting to its host. The airlock hissed. The door slowly opened, and standing in the doorway was a creature Marcus had never seen before. 8 feet tall, skin like liquid silver, eyes glowing like dying stars. The alien looked at the dying human. and smiled. What did this strange creature want? Was it here to save Marcus or to eat him? The Silver Stranger. Marcus had seen many things in his life. He had fought space pirates. He had survived asteroid storms. He had walked on planets where the air could kill a man in seconds. But nothing had prepared him for this moment. The creature standing in his doorway was not human. It was not even close to human. And yet, it was holding a container of water, like it knew exactly what Marcus needed to survive. Marcus tried to move. He tried to grab the gun from his belt, but his body refused to obey. He was too weak, too tired, too close to death. The alien stepped inside the ship slowly. Its movements were smooth and graceful, like water flowing through air. Its silver skin reflected the red warning lights, making it look like a living mirror. And those eyes, those glowing golden eyes, they were staring directly at Marcus. Marcus's heart was pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. "Stay back," he whispered, but his voice had no strength. It sounded like a dying man's last words. The alien stopped. It tilted its head slightly, studying Marcus like a scientist studying a strange insect. Then it did something unexpected. It raised both of its hands slowly, palms open, fingers spread wide. A universal sign, a sign that meant, "I am not your enemy." Marcus watched with wide eyes as the alien walked closer, step by step, inch by inch, until it was standing right in front of him. Then the creature knelt down. It placed the water container on the floor, right at Marcus's feet, and then it pushed the container toward him gently. Marcus looked at the water, then at the alien, then back at the water. Was this a trick? Was the water poisoned? Was this creature trying to kill him in some strange way? But Marcus was dying anyway. What did he have to lose? He grabbed the container with shaking hands and opened it. The liquid inside was clear and clean. It smelled fresh, like rain on earth. Marcus drank. The water touched his dry throat, and it felt like life itself was flowing back into his body. He drank and drank until the container was empty. Then he gasped for air, his chest rising and falling rapidly. He was still alive. The water was real. The alien had actually helped him. "Why?" Marcus asked, looking up at the silver creature. "Why did you help me?" The alien made a series of soft clicking sounds. Its language. Marcus could not understand a single word. But then the alien reached behind its back and pulled out a small device. It was round and flat, like a coin made of light. The creature leaned forward and attached the device to the side of Marcus's head, just above his ear. Suddenly, everything changed. The clicking sounds transformed into words. Real words. Words that Marcus could understand. "Can you understand me now, human?" the alien asked. Its voice was soft and musical, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Marcus nodded slowly, his eyes wide with shock. "Good," the alien said. "My name is Viral. I am a Sylvani, a healer. I travel the stars looking for those who are dying, and I save them." Marcus stared at her. Yes, her. Now that he could understand her voice, he realized the alien was female. "You save dying creatures?" Marcus asked. "Why? What do you get from it?" Varel's golden eyes flickered with something Marcus could not identify. Pain, sadness, memory. "Because I know what it feels like to be left alone to die," she said quietly. "And I promised myself that I would never let another creature feel that pain." Marcus felt something strange in his chest. This alien, this stranger from a species he had never met, had just saved his life. For no reason, with no expectation of reward. In his entire life, very few humans had ever done something like that for him. "Thank you," Marcus said. The words felt small compared to what she had done, but they were all he had. Varel nodded, but she did not smile. In fact, her silver face looked worried, scared even. "Do not thank me yet, human," she said. "I did not save you out of kindness alone. I saved you because I need your help." Marcus frowned. "My help? I'm just a cargo pilot. I'm nobody special." Varel shook her head slowly. "You are human," she said, "and humans are the greatest warriors in the galaxy. Everyone knows this. Your species is small, But it is fierce. You fight when others run. You survive when others die. She paused, and her golden eyes filled with tears. I have been running for a long time, human. Running from enemies I cannot defeat alone. And now they have finally found me. Before Marcus could ask what she meant, a loud alarm started blaring through both ships. Varel's silver face turned pale with terror. No, she whispered. No, no, no. It is too soon. They should not be here yet. Marcus looked at the computer screen. 3 massive black ships had appeared out of nowhere. They were shaped like weapons, sharp, angular, and terrifying, and they were heading straight toward them. Who are they? Marcus demanded. Viral's voice was barely a whisper. The Krath, she said, the most brutal hunters in the galaxy. They believe that the weak should die, that helping others is a crime against nature. She looked at Marcus with desperate eyes. I broke their law. I saved lives, and now they have come to execute me. Marcus looked at the approaching ships. Then he looked at Viral, this strange alien who had given him water when he was dying. He did not know her. He did not owe her anything. He could simply give her to the Krath and save himself. But that was not who Marcus Cole was. He had made a promise to his daughter, a promise to always come home. But he had also lived by another rule his entire life. Never abandon someone who needs you. Marcus reached down and picked up his gun. It was old and damaged, but it still worked. How many Krath are on those ships? He asked. Viral stared at him in confusion. What? Why does that matter? We cannot fight them. We must run. How many? Marcus repeated. Viral swallowed hard. At least 50 warriors. Maybe more. Marcus nodded slowly. 50 alien warriors against 1 dying human and 1 frightened healer. Those were terrible odds. Marcus smiled. I've had worse, he said. The Krath ships powered their weapons. Red targeting lights locked onto Marcus's vessel. In exactly 60 seconds, they would open fire. And Marcus had no plan, no backup, no hope, just a broken gun and a promise he refused to break. The hunted healer Viral had spent her entire life healing others. She had touched the wounds of dying soldiers. She had cured diseases that had no name. She had brought creatures back from the edge of death itself. But she had never seen anything like this human. Marcus Cole was not running. He was not begging. He was not crying. He was loading his gun and smiling. The Krath ships moved closer. Their black metal bodies blocked out the stars like dark monsters eating the light. Red targeting beams cut through space and locked onto Marcus's small cargo vessel. A voice crackled through the communication system. It was deep, cold, and filled with hate. Sylvanie female, we know you are inside. You have broken the sacred law. You have helped the weak survive. This crime is punishable by death. The voice paused. Surrender now, and we will kill you quickly. Resist, and we will make you suffer for 10,000 years. Viral's entire body was shaking. Silver tears rolled down her cheeks. She had been running for so long, fighting for so long. And now, finally, the end had come. She looked at Marcus. You should give me to them, she whispered. They will let you go. You can still survive. You can still see your daughter again. Marcus did not even look at her. He was busy checking his weapon, counting his bullets, studying the enemy ships on the screen. How fast can your ship fly? He asked. Viral blinked in confusion. What? Your ship, Marcus repeated. The one attached to mine. How fast can it go? It is. It is faster than most ships in the galaxy, but the Krath vessels are war machines. They will catch us before we can... I did not ask about them, Marcus interrupted. I asked about your ship. He finally turned to look at her. His eyes were calm, focused, like a man who had already accepted death and was no longer afraid of it. Here is what is going to happen, Marcus said. I am going to detach your ship from mine. You are going to fly as far away as possible, and I am going to stay here and keep the Krath busy. Viral's golden eyes went wide. No, that is insane. You will die. Probably, Marcus agreed, but you will live, and that is what matters. Viral grabbed his arm. Her silver fingers were cold against his skin. "Why?" she demanded. "Why would you die for me? You do not know me. We met only minutes ago. I am nothing to you." Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out the photograph of his daughter. "You see this little girl?" he said softly. "Her name is Emma. She is 7 years old, and every night before she sleeps, she asks me the same question." He paused. "She asks me, 'Daddy, are there good people in space? Or is everyone out there mean and scary?'" Marcus put the photograph back in his pocket. "I always tell her the same thing. I tell her that the universe is full of good people. People who help strangers. People who risk everything for others. People like you, Viral." His voice became firm. "If I give you to the Krath, if I let you die to save myself, then I become a liar, and I will never be able to look my daughter in the eyes again." Viral stared at him. In her entire life, no one had ever said anything like this to her. No one had ever been willing to die for her, until now. "You humans," she whispered. "You are the strangest creatures in the galaxy." Marcus smiled. "I know." The Krath voice returned, angrier than before. "You have 30 seconds to surrender. This is your final warning." Marcus walked to the control panel and started pressing buttons. The ship's engine roared to life. Weak, damaged, but still working. "Viral," he said. "I need you to trust me. Can you do that?" Viral hesitated. Then she nodded. "Good," Marcus said. "Because I have a plan. It is stupid. It is dangerous. And it will probably kill us both." He grinned. "But it might also work." Marcus pointed at the largest Krath ship on the screen. It was 3 times bigger than the others. The command vessel. "That ship controls the other 2, Marcus explained. "If we can damage it, the other ships will lose coordination. They will become confused. And in that confusion, we can escape." Viral shook her head. "But how can we damage it? We have no weapons." Marcus's grin grew wider. "Yes, we do," he said. "We have my ship." It took Viral a moment to understand. When she did, her silver face turned pale. "You want to crash your ship into theirs?" she gasped. "That is suicide." "Not if we time it perfectly," Marcus said. "We detach your ship at the last second. My vessel hits their command ship. The explosion creates chaos, and you fly away before they can react." "But you will die," Viral cried. Marcus shook his head. "Not if I jump to your ship before the crash. It will be close. Very close. But I have done crazier things." He looked at her seriously. "This is our only chance, Viral. Do you trust me?" Viral looked at the Krath ships. She looked at Marcus. She looked at the vast emptiness of space around them. Then she took a deep breath. "I trust you, human." Marcus nodded. "Then let's go make some aliens very angry." He pushed the throttle forward. The damaged cargo ship lurched and began moving, straight toward the Krath command vessel. The enemy ships opened fire immediately. Laser beams and missiles filled the space around them. Explosions rocked Marcus's vessel from every direction. But Marcus did not stop. He did not slow down. He flew faster and faster, heading directly toward the massive black ship. The Krath commander's voice screamed through the radio. "What is the human doing? Is he insane? Pull back! Pull back!" But it was too late. Marcus grabbed Viral's hand. "Now! Jump now!" They ran toward the airlock connecting the 2 ships. Behind them, the cargo vessel's engine was overheating. Flames were spreading. Alarms were screaming. They jumped through the airlock just as the connection broke. Viral's ship flew away at maximum speed, and Marcus's cargo vessel, his home for the past 5 years, continued its deadly journey. It hit the Krath command ship like a burning arrow. The explosion was blinding. A ball of white fire consumed both vessels, sending shock waves through space. The other 2 Krath ships were thrown backward by the force. Viral stared at the destruction through her window. Her heart was pounding. They had done it. They had actually done it. But then she looked around her ship. Marcus was not there. "Marcus!" she called. "Marcus!" She ran back to the airlock, and there, floating in space, holding on to a broken piece of metal, was Marcus Cole. He had not made it inside in time. He was drifting away into the void. No oxygen, no protection, just a dying human in the endless darkness. Viral screamed. Marcus could feel the cold of space seeping into his bones. His lungs were burning. His vision was going dark. He had saved Viral. He had kept his promise. But now he was going to die alone. Just like he had always feared. The last thing he saw was Viral's ship turning around, coming back for him. But she was too far away, and he had only seconds left. Will Viral reach him in time? Or will Marcus Cole die a hero's death in the frozen void? The bond between the strangers, death was cold. That was the first thing Marcus noticed. Not the silence, not the darkness, but the cold. It wrapped around him like frozen chains, squeezing the life out of his body one heartbeat at a time. He had always wondered how he would die. In battle, in his sleep, holding his daughter's hand. He never imagined it would be like this. Floating alone in the endless void, watching the stars blur as his eyes closed forever. Marcus could not breathe. The vacuum of space was crushing his chest. Ice crystals were forming on his skin. His blood was boiling inside his veins. He had maybe 15 seconds left to live, maybe less. His fingers, numb and frozen, slowly released their grip on the broken metal piece. There was no point in holding on anymore. No point in fighting. He had done what he needed to do. He had saved Viral. He had destroyed the Krath command ship. He had proven that humans never abandon those who need them. Now it was time to rest. Marcus closed his eyes. "I'm sorry, Emma," he thought. Daddy tried to come home. He really tried. The image of his daughter's face filled his mind. Her bright smile, her little hands, the way she laughed when he tickled her. At least his last thought would be a beautiful one. But then, something grabbed him. Strong fingers wrapped around his wrist. Not human fingers, silver fingers, cold and smooth like polished metal. Marcus forced his eyes open. Viral was there, outside her ship, in the vacuum of space, holding on to him with one hand and gripping a cable with the other. She was not wearing any protective suit. The cold of space should have killed her instantly, but her silver skin was glowing, pulsing with golden light like a living star. "Hold on, human!" Viral screamed. Her voice somehow reached him even in the silence of space. "Do not die! Do not die!" She pulled, hard, harder than any creature her size should be able to pull. Marcus felt himself moving, flying through the void, toward the open airlock of Viral's ship. They crashed inside together. The airlock slammed shut. Air rushed in. Gravity returned. Marcus hit the floor and could not move. His body was broken, frozen, dying. Virel knelt beside him, her golden eyes filled with tears. "No, no, no," she whispered. "You cannot die, not after everything, not after what you did for me." She placed both hands on his chest. Her silver skin began glowing brighter and brighter. The light was warm, warmer than any sun Marcus had ever felt. And then the pain started. It was not bad pain. It was strange pain, like his frozen blood was melting, like his crushed lungs were expanding, like every broken cell in his body was being rebuilt from nothing. Marcus screamed. Viral screamed with him. The light grew so bright that Marcus could see nothing else. Just white, pure white, like being inside a star. And then, silence. Marcus opened his eyes. He was alive. He took a breath, a real deep breath. His lungs worked perfectly. His heart was beating strong. His skin was warm and healthy. He sat up slowly and looked at his hands. No frostbite, no damage. He was completely healed. "How?" he whispered. "How is this possible?" He turned to look at Viral. She was lying on the floor beside him. Her silver skin had turned pale gray. Her golden eyes were dim and tired. She looked like she had aged 100 years in just 1 minute. "Viral!" Marcus crawled to her side. "What happened? What did you do?" Viral smiled weakly. "I told you, human. I am a healer. This is what I do." "But you look dying?" Viral laughed softly. "Yes, using this much power has a cost. I gave you part of my life force, part of my years." Marcus felt his heart break. "No," he said. "No, you should not have done that. You should have let me die." Viral shook her head slowly. "You were willing to die for me, Marcus Cole. a stranger, an alien you had just met. How could I do any less for you? She reached up and touched his face with her cold fingers. Besides, as she said, I have lived a long time, a very long time. A few less years means nothing to me. But your daughter, she needs you. She deserves to have her father come home. Marcus could not speak. There were no words big enough for what he felt in that moment. This alien, this strange silver creature from a species he had never known, had just sacrificed part of her own life to save his. He had traveled across the galaxy. He had met thousands of creatures from hundreds of worlds. But he had never met anyone like Viral. Thank you, he finally said. The words felt too small, too simple, but they were all he had. Viral smiled. You can thank me by helping me stand up. We are not safe yet. Marcus helped her to her feet. She leaned against him, weak but alive. The Krath, she said. We destroyed their command ship, but the other two are still out there. They will call for backup. More ships will come. Many more. Marcus nodded. Then we need to get as far away as possible. Where can we go? Viral was quiet for a moment. Then she walked slowly to the control panel and pressed a few buttons. A map appeared on the screen. It showed their current location, a tiny dot in the middle of unknown space. But there was another dot nearby, a small planet, and it was blinking. What is that? Marcus asked. Viral's face became pale, not from weakness this time, but from fear. A distress signal, she whispered. A Silvani distress signal. Marcus frowned. Your people? There are other Silvani out here? Viral nodded slowly. Her eyes filled with tears again. I thought I was the last one, she said. I thought the Krath had killed everyone else. But this signal, it means there are survivors, others like me. Hope appeared on her face, real hope, for the first time since Marcus had met her. We must go there, she said. We must find them. Marcus looked at the map. The planet was only a few hours away. Then let's go, he said. Viral set the course. The ship turned and began flying toward the blinking dot. For the next few hours, they traveled in silence. Both of them were tired. Both of them were thinking about what they had been through. But as they got closer to the planet, something felt wrong. Marcus noticed it first. Viral, why is there no communication from the surface? If there are survivors, why are they not answering? Viral tried to contact the planet. Nothing, just static. Maybe their equipment is damaged, she said, but her voice was uncertain. They entered the planet's atmosphere. Clouds surrounded the ship. Then the clouds cleared, and Marcus saw something that made his blood run cold. The surface of the planet was covered in cages. Hundreds of them, thousands of them. Metal prisons stretching as far as the eye could see. And inside each cage was a Silvani. Some were standing, some were sitting, some were lying on the ground, not moving at all. They were not survivors. They were prisoners. Viral stared at the horror below. Her whole body was trembling. No, she breathed. No, this cannot be. Marcus looked closer at the screen. He saw massive black structures between the cages. Guard towers, weapons platforms, and patrolling the area. Krath soldiers, hundreds of them. This was not a rescue mission. This was a slave camp. The Krath had not been trying to kill the Silvani. They had been capturing them, collecting them, using them. But for what? Viral fell to her knees. Tears poured down her silver face. My people, she sobbed, my entire species. They are slaves. They are all slaves. Marcus stood frozen, staring at the nightmare below. He was one human, one small, weak human, against an army of the most brutal warriors in the galaxy. He should run. He should take Viral and fly away. He should go home to his daughter and forget he ever saw this place. But Marcus Cole had never been good at running. He looked at Viral. He looked at the cages. He looked at the Krath soldiers. And he made a decision. Viral, he said quietly, how many Silvani are down there? Viral looked up at him with broken eyes. I do not know. Maybe 1,000. Maybe more. Marcus nodded. Then we are going to save them. All of them. Viral shook her head. That is impossible. There are too many Krath. You will die. Marcus smiled, a cold, dangerous smile. Maybe, he said, but they will remember this day forever. They will remember the day a single human walked into their camp and made them pay for every life they destroyed. He picked up his gun. The Krath think they are hunters, but they have never hunted a human before. His eyes grew dark. Let me show them why that was a mistake. The human who became legend. Every species in the galaxy had a story about humans. The Valari said humans were weak, small creatures with no claws, no fangs, no natural weapons. The Droxy said humans were primitive, a young species that had barely learned to travel between stars. The Krath said humans were nothing, insects to be crushed beneath their boots. But after this day, every species in the galaxy would learn the truth. Humans are not dangerous because of their strength. Humans are dangerous because they never stop fighting. Not when they are outnumbered, not when they are outgunned, not when the entire universe tells them to give up. And on this day, one human was about to remind the galaxy why his species should never be underestimated. Night fell on the prison planet. The twin moons cast silver light across the endless rows of cages. Inside those cages, 1,000 Sylvani sat in silence. Their silver skin was dull and gray. Their golden eyes had lost their glow. They had given up hope long ago. Krath guards patrolled between the cages, their black armor reflecting the moonlight. They carried massive weapons, guns that could tear a human apart with a single shot. They laughed and joked with each other, enjoying their power over the helpless prisoners. They had no idea what was coming. On a hill overlooking the camp, Marcus Cole lay flat on his stomach. He watched the guards through a broken scope he had found on Viral's ship. His face was calm, his breathing was steady, his eyes were counting. 12 guard towers, approximately 200 soldiers, one main power station, one communication center. Impossible odds. Marcus smiled. Are you sure about this? Viral whispered beside him. She was still weak from saving his life, but she had refused to stay on the ship. There are so many of them. And you are just one. One human, Marcus finished. Yes, I know. He turned to look at her. Viral, I need you to understand something. I am not a hero. I am not special. I am just a cargo pilot who misses his daughter. He looked back at the camp. But those people down there, your people, they have families too. They have children who miss them, parents who cry for them, and right now they think no one is coming to save them. His voice became hard. I am going to prove them wrong. Viral stared at him for a long moment. Then she reached out and touched his hand. I am coming with you, she said. Marcus shook his head. No, you are too weak. You will die. Then I will die fighting, Viral said firmly. You taught me that, Marcus. You taught me that some things are worth dying for. Marcus looked into her golden eyes. He saw no fear there, only determination. He nodded slowly. Stay close to me, he said, and when I tell you to run, you run. Promise me. Viral nodded. I promise. Marcus took a deep breath. Then he stood up and walked toward the camp. He did not sneak. He did not hide. He walked straight toward the main gate like he owned the place. The Krath guards saw him immediately. Halt! One of them shouted. Identify yourself! Marcus kept walking. I said halt! The guard raised his weapon. Marcus stopped. He was now standing in the middle of the road, surrounded by at least 30 Krath soldiers. Their guns were all pointed at him. He looked around slowly. Then he spoke. My name is Marcus Cole. I am a human from Earth, and I am here to free every single prisoner in this camp. Silence. Then the Krath started laughing. One human, the lead guard said. One tiny, weak human thinks he can defeat the mighty Krath? He walked closer to Marcus, his massive body towering over the human. Do you know how many species have tried to fight us? Do you know how many worlds we have conquered? You are nothing, human. Less than nothing. Marcus looked up at him calmly. You talk too much, he said. Then he moved. His hand shot up and grabbed the guard's weapon. Before anyone could react, Marcus twisted the gun around and fired. Not at the guard, but at the power station behind him. The explosion was massive. Every light in the camp went dark. The electric fences around the cages shut down. The guard towers lost power. Chaos erupted. Marcus dropped to the ground as laser fire flew over his head. He rolled, grabbed a fallen weapon, and started shooting. He was not fighting like a soldier. He was fighting like a storm. Every shot found its target. Every movement was precise. Every breath was calculated. The Krath were bigger, stronger, better armed. But Marcus was faster, smarter, and he had nothing left to lose. "Kill him!" the Krath commander screamed. "Kill the human!" But killing Marcus Cole was not easy. He moved through the darkness like a ghost. He appeared from nowhere, fired 3 shots, and disappeared before anyone could react. He used the chaos as his weapon, turning the Krath's confusion into his advantage. And then Viral joined the fight. She had been watching Marcus, learning from him, and now she understood. Sometimes to save lives, you must be willing to take them. Her healing power had another side, a dark side. She could give life, but she could also take it away. She pressed her hand against a Krath soldier's chest. Golden light flashed, and the soldier collapsed, his life force drained in an instant. "For my people!" Viral screamed. She moved through the camp like an angel of death. Every Krath she touched fell to the ground. She was no longer just a healer. She was a warrior. Together, Marcus and Viral were unstoppable. The Silvani prisoners watched in shock as the cages around them opened one by one. They could not believe what they were seeing. A human and one of their own kind, fighting against an entire army, and winning. "Fight!" Marcus shouted at the freed prisoners. "Fight for your freedom!" Something changed in the Silvani's eyes. The dullness disappeared. The hope returned. They were healers, peaceful creatures. They had never fought before. But watching Marcus, watching this strange human risk everything for them, they felt something new burning in their hearts. They picked up fallen weapons. They attacked their captors. They fought for the first time in their lives. And the Krath, for the first time in their history, felt fear. The battle lasted for hours. Marcus was wounded, shot in the shoulder, cut across the chest, bleeding from a dozen places. But he did not stop. Viral was exhausted. Her power was almost gone. She could barely stand. But she did not stop. And when the sun finally rose over the prison planet, only one side was left standing. The Krath were defeated, dead or fled. The greatest warriors in the galaxy had been beaten by one human, one healer, and 1,000 prisoners who refused to give up. Marcus collapsed to his knees. Blood dripped from his wounds onto the dirt below. Viral ran to his side. "Marcus! Marcus!" She placed her hands on his chest, trying to heal him, but her power was empty. She had nothing left to give. "No," she sobbed. "No, please, not now. Not after everything." Marcus looked up at her. His face was pale. His breath was weak, but he was smiling. "We did it," he whispered. "We saved them." Viral held him close, tears falling from her eyes. "You saved us," she said. "You saved all of us." Marcus shook his head weakly. "You saved me first, in the void. When I was dying of thirst, you gave me water, and you gave me a reason to keep fighting." He reached into his pocket and pulled out the photograph of his daughter. It was covered in blood, but Emma's smile was still visible. "I need to go home," he said. "I need to see her again." Viral nodded. "You will, I promise you, Marcus. I will take you home." She looked up at the freed Silvani standing around them, 1,000 silver faces watching in silence, 1,000 golden eyes filled with gratitude. "My people," Viral said loudly. "This human saved us all. He asked for nothing. He expected nothing. He simply saw creatures in pain, and he could not walk away." She looked back at Marcus. "This is what humans are. This is why they are the most remarkable species in the galaxy. Not because of their strength, not because of their technology, but because of their hearts." The Silvani began to kneel, one by one, then 10 by 10, then all of them, 1,000 aliens, kneeling before a single wounded human. Marcus tried to protest. "No, stop. I'm not." "You are," Viral said firmly. "You are a hero, Marcus Cole, and my people will never forget you." She held his hand. "The galaxy will never forget you." For 3 months later, The cargo ship landed on Earth with a gentle thud. Marcus stood at the exit, his body mostly healed thanks to Silvani medicine. He was nervous, more nervous than he had ever been before any battle. The door opened, and there she was, Emma, his daughter, standing in the spaceport with her grandmother, holding a sign that said, "Welcome home, Daddy," in messy crayon letters. Marcus ran. He ran faster than he had ever run in his life. He grabbed his daughter and lifted her into his arms, hugging her so tightly that she squeaked. "Daddy!" Emma laughed. "You're squishing me." "I'm sorry, baby," Marcus said, tears streaming down his face. "I'm so sorry. I missed you so much." Emma pulled back and looked at him with curious eyes. "Daddy, where were you?" "You were gone for so long." Marcus smiled. "I was helping some new friends," he said. "They were in trouble, and they needed someone to fight for them." Emma's eyes went wide. "Like a superhero?" Marcus laughed. "No, baby, not like a superhero. Just like a human." He looked back at the ship. Varel was standing at the exit, watching them with a gentle smile. Marcus waved at her. She waved back. Then she spoke. Not out loud, but through the translation device still attached to Marcus's ear. "Goodbye, Marcus Cole. Thank you for everything. If you ever need me, I will be there. Always." The ship rose into the sky and disappeared among the stars. Emma tugged on Marcus's sleeve. "Daddy, who was that pretty silver lady?" Marcus smiled. "That, sweetheart, was the friend who saved my life." He picked up his daughter and started walking toward home. "Now how about I tell you a story about a thirsty man in space and the alien who gave him water?" Emma's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Yes, tell me, Daddy, tell me." And as Marcus walked into the sunset with his daughter in his arms, he realized something important. He had crossed the galaxy. He had fought monsters. He had nearly died a dozen times. But this moment, holding his child, feeling her warmth, hearing her laughter, this was the greatest adventure of all. Years later, stories spread across every corner of the galaxy. Stories about a dying human who was saved by an alien's kindness. Stories about a healer who learned to fight. Stories about a single man who stood against an entire army and won. But the most important story was the simplest one. It was the story of two strangers from different worlds, different species, different lives, who chose to help each other when they had no reason to. Because in the end, that is what makes humans special. They do not help others because it is logical. They do not fight because they will win. They do what is right simply because it is right. And that more than any weapon, any technology, any power, is why humanity will never be forgotten. The stars remember. The galaxy remembers. And somewhere, on a small blue planet called Earth, a little girl falls asleep every night listening to stories about her father, the human who became legend.